I seem to be a magnet for the unexplained. I don't think this is a ghost story. I've researched ghosts in my life and even investigated several. Never have seen in anything I've read or experienced or investigated where a ghost would bring something in the physical and leave it. I could be wrong. Maybe this was some kind of a ghost thing, but I just don't see how. But this is what happened back in the early 80s. I was living in an apartment on the corner of 7th and Austin in Amarillo, across from the old historic Northwest Texas Hospital. I lived on the side where the front lobby entrance was, which was 7th Street. The historic Route 66, which is 6th Street in Amarillo, was on the opposite side, the north side of the hospital. That's where the ER was. Well, I lived in this apartment, one bedroom, little duplex style apartment. And my apartment was the one on the end closest to the hospital. And I worked night shift at the hospital. I would leave, lock everything up, usually leave a light on, like a little lamp on in the living room while I was gone, so when I come in, if it was still dark, I wouldn't be coming into a dark apartment. And I would just walk across the street and go to work. Several times. Now we're talking 6 or 8 times. This didn't just happen once. Happened several times. I would come home in the morning from work, and there would be a Coors beer sitting beside my chair on the coffee table or on the side table, and 1 or 2 Marlboro regulars put out in the ashtray. Nobody would be anywhere. I checked everything, closet, under the bed, bathroom, shower, and there was nowhere else they could hide. It was a small apartment. There was never anybody there. And I thought, well, maybe the landlord, the manager, I should say, that rented me the apartment, lived in the little apartments behind us. Maybe he was coming over there and doing that, because he knew I worked nights. So I changed the lock. Wasn't supposed to, but I did. And I got a new key. It continued. So then I thought, well, maybe they're vibrating the window in the bathroom and getting it to come on, because you could like jiggle it and the little thing would spin enough to where you could slide it up and get in and out. But I thought, he wouldn't be doing that. He was an old man, not in good shape. So it'd have to be somebody younger. So occasionally on my lunch break, I would leave the ER and go to the break room, which was on the 2nd floor, right above the lobby area. And I would look out over to my apartment to see if I saw anybody coming or going, or lights on that I didn't leave or whatever. Never was able to catch anybody. Even had my boyfriend, which later became my husband, I gave him a key and had him stay there one night. Because this had really been, I think twice in 1 week it had happened. And the next time that we were talking about it. He said, well, I'll just stay here and while you're at work, and well, I'll catch him. I'll have the lights off and I'll be ready for him. Well, he did. Wasn't able to catch anybody. But one time when I got home, there was a beer. It was about 2/3 drank, so there was a little bit left in the bottom. And it still had a little condensation on the bottom of the can. So it was still cold. They had left not long before I got there. Whoever it was. Like I said, I'm not saying it was a ghost because I've never heard of such a thing. I've never heard of a ghost leaving a physical object. And cigarettes. I mean, my God, really? But they did. Somebody did. Somebody was in my apartment. If you've ever had any situation like that occur, tell me the story. We would sometimes hear someone walking across the floor. We would be in bed or on the couch, and we could hear someone walking. This was an older house. It had wooden floors. Only some areas were covered by carpet or linoleum. But there were wooden floors between the rooms that had that. We could be laying in bed and the door would be open. The house would be quiet. Then we'd hear the steps. They would usually be 3 or 4 steps. And then we could hear and maybe sense that there was activity in the living room, like there was someone or people moving around doing something. But when we'd get up and go in there, nobody's there. We lived alone. Several months after we realized that something was going on, because cabinets would be left open whenever we'd go to bed or leave and come back, and if we'd gone together, we knew nobody had been in the house. Of course, we locked it and the windows were secure. But we'd been noticing that TV was left on, or lights were on when we turned them off, or they were off when we turned them on. We would set things up to try to see if it would be changed when we came back. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't. I'd say about 1/4 of the time it was. There had been something there. We ended up moving a friend of ours into the spare bedroom. And he had a really cool stereo system. And he had, I mean, you name it, he had it. And it filled up the entertainment center. And he even had a microphone. So we decided to hang a microphone from the cup hook in the ceiling and plug it in. And we got a brand new tape put in it, high quality tape. And all 3 of us one night left. We all left together. We all rode in the same car. We hit the record button on the stereo, clicked the mic on, and we left. We were gone maybe a couple hours. We came back, went straight to the stereo, hit rewind, unplugged the mic, and cranked up the stereo speakers to listen. We could hear us walking across the floor. We could hear us talking and opening the door. We could also hear us going out onto the porch, closing the door and locking it behind us. And then the door closing on the car and the engine starting, and we backed up. You could hear us leave the neighborhood. And for the next couple hours, I guess, you could occasionally hear someone driving by. But you heard no one coming in. And then all of a sudden, you could hear something. Sound like it was being moved around in the living room. Wasn't loud. Just kind of sounded like somebody was moving something around a little bit. And then that's it. At that particular time, we even put the cats, we had 2 cats, we put the cats outside. We had a screened-in back porch. We didn't want to risk having them make a noise and us jump to a conclusion. Now, because we know it wasn't them walking across the floor, because we could literally hear the wood floor make noises in the past. We know they didn't open up cabinets or turn on lights. The light switches were up too high. There was nothing around it for them to get up on. But to lessen all chances of a fake positive, we put them outside. But there was a noise of something moving around in the living room. And we looked around, we couldn't figure it out. Everything looked fine. It looked like we had left it. But there was something. There was a presence in that house. Well, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it gave you something to think about. If you've got a story, send it to the email address provided. And keep listening. Don't forget to hit subscribe. And if you liked it, hit like. This is a brand new channel, and you can help us make it grow. Send in your stories. Bye. Be safe out there.